The unseen eyes in the void, a chilling message flickers across an advanced deep space monitoring system. Critical alert, human war vessel detected. Somewhere in the vast silent abyss of space, a lone warship, armed and engineered for destruction, drifts into the unknown. But who detected it? What triggered the alert? And more importantly, what does this mean for the cosmic balance of power? For centuries, humanity has dreamt of reaching the stars. But the universe is not an empty canvas waiting to be painted with human ambition. It is a battlefield of civilizations, some ancient, others just emerging. The detection of a human war vessel signals not only our technological advancement, but also the possibility that we have entered a dangerous game of interstellar power, a game where the slightest misstep could mean extinction. But how did this warship get here? Was it a secret? Mission gone wrong, a relic of a forgotten war, or an intentional warning sent to an unknown observer? To understand the gravity of this moment, we must first explore the concept of space militarization, how humanity transitioned from earthbound conflicts to the weaponization of the stars. The evolution of space warfare. From Earth to the stars. The idea of space warfare was once a subject of science fiction, but history shows that whenever humans conquer a new frontier, they bring their weapons with them. In the mid-20th century, nations raced to put satellites into orbit, and with it came the inevitable, the military exploitation of space. During the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union both developed satellite-based surveillance, missile detection systems, and even plans for orbital weaponry. The Strategic Defense Initiative, SDI, often called Star Wars, was a proposed U.S. missile defense system aimed at neutralizing nuclear attacks from space. The Soviets, in turn, experimented with space-based laser platforms and anti-satellite missiles. Though these projects never escalated into full-fledged space warfare, they laid the groundwork for something much more ominous: the concept of interstellar warships. Fast forward to the 21st century, and spacefaring nations have already begun deploying military assets beyond Earth's atmosphere. The U.S. Space Force, China's Tiangong Defense Program, and Russia's Cosmos Military Division all aim to establish a strategic presence in orbit and beyond. Experimental craft such as the X-37B spaceplane operate under classified missions, fueling speculation about the development of space-based weapons. But as technology advances, so do the ambitions of militaries worldwide. The line between defense and aggression becomes blurred when warships leave Earth's orbit. The vessel that triggered the alert could be one of many: a prototype from a classified military project, an abandoned deep space patrol ship, or perhaps something even more mysterious. The science of warships in space. Unlike naval vessels that rely on buoyancy or aircraft that manipulate air pressure, a space warship operates in the vacuum of space, where there is no air, no resistance, and no natural barriers. So what would a true human war vessel look like? A. Propulsion and mobility. Traditional rockets work by expelling mass to generate thrust. But warships cannot afford to be slow. Advanced warships would likely use nuclear propulsion, antimatter drives, or plasma-based ion thrusters to achieve rapid acceleration and long-duration space travel. Some theoretical designs even propose using warp bubbles or gravity-assisted slingshot maneuvers for near-instantaneous movement across vast distances. B. Weapon systems. The absence of an atmosphere changes everything about combat. Bullets do not slow down, and explosions do not create fiery shockwaves like in movies. Instead, kinetic impactors, high-speed railguns, or guided projectiles traveling at relativistic speeds become the dominant weapon of space warfare. A single strike from a hypervelocity railgun could pierce through an entire warship like a needle through fabric. But projectiles are not the only concern. Directed energy weapons such as high-intensity lasers and particle beams could cut through hulls and disable electronic systems. Even electromagnetic pulse, EMP, weapons could be deployed to cripple a ship's core functions, leaving it drifting helplessly in space. C. Defense and armor. Without an atmosphere, traditional armor plating would not be enough. Advanced warships would likely use self-healing nanomaterials, plasma shields, or electromagnetic force fields to repel incoming attacks. Stealth technology, which relies on heat dispersion and radar-absorbing materials, would also play a critical role in evading detection. Yet despite all these advancements, warships are not invincible. Their greatest weakness may not be in their armor or firepower, but in their reliance on supply chains. Unlike ground-based forces, space fleets cannot easily refuel, repair, or rearm. A single battle could exhaust a warship's resources, turning it into nothing more than a floating graveyard. The mystery deepens. Who detected the warship? Now comes the most pressing question. Who sent the alert? Was it an Earth-based organization tracking unauthorized military activity, or was it something else? If the alert was transmitted from a human-controlled facility, it could mean that an unauthorized warship has entered restricted space. This could indicate a rogue faction, a secret military operation, or a vessel that was never supposed to be found. But if the warning came from an extraterrestrial source, then humanity may have just made its first, and possibly most dangerous, military encounter with an unknown civilization. Throughout history, first contact between civilizations has often been defined by conflict. From the European colonization of the Americas to the clash of empires in Asia and Africa, misunderstandings and power struggles have repeatedly led to war. If an advanced alien civilization has detected a human warship, their reaction could range from curiosity to outright hostility. Would they see us as an emerging power to negotiate with? Or would they view us as a growing threat that must be neutralized before we can expand further? At this point, the war vessel is more than just a machine. It is a statement, a symbol of humanity's militarization of space, and depending on who is watching, it could be the trigger for the first interstellar war. The silent battlefield, space warfare strategies. The presence of a human war vessel in deep space does not just raise concerns about its origins, but also about how warfare itself would unfold in the cosmos. Unlike traditional battles on Earth, space warfare operates under entirely different rules. There is no terrain to take cover behind, no oxygen to fuel explosions, and no gravity to stabilize movement. Every engagement would be dictated by the brutal laws of physics, making combat less about brute force and more about precision, speed, and deception. The importance of stealth in space. Combat, the first and most crucial factor in space warfare, is detection avoidance. Unlike the movies where ships engage in dramatic dogfights, real space combat would likely be determined long before a single shot is fired. A warship that remains undetected has the advantage of striking first or escaping before an enemy can retaliate. But stealth in space is a paradox. Traditional stealth technology on Earth relies on deflecting or absorbing radar waves, but in the vacuum of space, the biggest giveaway is heat. Every machine, from propulsion systems to onboard life support, generates heat, and in the cold darkness of space, that heat is impossible to hide. This is why advanced warships would likely use heat dissipation panels, liquid cooling networks, and even cold gas thrusters to mask their presence. Another possibility is the use of light-bending materials, or chameleon hulls, that mimic the surrounding environment. This concept, while theoretical, has been explored in early-stage research using metamaterials, substances engineered to manipulate electromagnetic waves. If successfully implemented, a warship could become nearly invisible to both human and alien sensors, lurking undetected like a predator in the void. Tactical combat in zero gravity. Traditional warfare relies on the ability to maneuver, retreat, and use the environment for strategic positioning. In space, however, movement is dictated by Newton's laws of motion. Once a ship starts moving, it will continue in that direction unless acted upon by another force. This means that sudden changes in trajectory or velocity require careful calculation, as even a small miscalculation could send a vessel drifting uncontrollably. To counteract this, warships would need reaction control thrusters to make fine adjustments, as well as adaptive AI-driven autopilot systems capable of making real-time corrections based on enemy movements. But maneuvering in space is not just about offense, it's about survival. A ship that fails to predict incoming attacks or adjust its vector accordingly could be destroyed in an instant. One proposed strategy is the drone swarm doctrine, where fleets of autonomous attack drones operate alongside warships, acting as both decoys and offensive assets. These drones, equipped with AI-guided railguns or energy weapons, could swarm an enemy fleet, overwhelming defenses while the main warships remain at a distance, launching coordinated strikes. But there's another, even more terrifying possibility. Kinetic bombardment weapons. Unlike conventional explosives, these weapons rely purely on speed and mass. A single tungsten or depleted uranium rod dropped from orbit at hypersonic velocities would impact with the force of a nuclear explosion, without the need for radioactive material. These so-called rods from God could turn planetary surfaces into uninhabitable wastelands. If a human war vessel has been detected carrying such weapons, then its mission may not be defense, it may be planetary annihilation. The implications of an alien response. If the detection alert was sent by an alien civilization, the consequences could be profound. The way they react would depend on their own level of technological advancement and their perspective on humanity. There are several possible scenarios, each carrying its own risks. Scenario 1. The observers. The aliens, being far more advanced, do not see humanity as a threat, but as a species to be watched. They observe us like scientists studying a primitive civilization, taking note of our development while choosing not to interfere. In this case, the detection of a human war vessel might simply be recorded and stored in their archives, with no immediate action taken. Scenario 2. The diplomats. If the aliens perceive humanity as an emerging power, they might initiate contact, not to attack, but to establish diplomatic relations. They may wish to assess our intentions, gauge our level of development, and determine whether we are worthy of interstellar alliances. However, if they find our warship to be overtly aggressive or dangerous, they might impose restrictions on our spacefaring activities, limiting our expansion until we prove ourselves responsible. Scenario 3. The enforcers. In this scenario, the aliens operate under a strict doctrine. No militarized species are allowed to expand into space. They see humanity's war vessel as an unacceptable threat and act preemptively, launching a full-scale assault to eliminate the ship before it can establish a presence beyond Earth. If this happens, it would mean that humanity is not alone in the galaxy, but we are also not welcome. Scenario 4. The aggressors. What if the aliens are not merely responding to the war vessel, but were waiting for an excuse to strike? In this case, the detection of a human warship might serve as the catalyst for an all-out war. If their civilization is expansionist, they may see humanity as a potential rival and seek to destroy us before we gain enough strength to resist. In this event, Earth itself could be the target, with fleets of alien warships descending upon our home world in a preemptive invasion. The war vessel's true purpose. Before jumping to conclusions, we must consider another possibility. Was the warship even manned? There is a growing trend in military strategy to replace human crews with fully autonomous war machines. Advanced AI systems, capable of independent decision-making, could pilot warships without the need for human intervention. If the vessel detected in space is AI-controlled, then its mission might not even align with human intentions. It could be an abandoned relic from a forgotten war, still carrying out old orders, a rogue AI, having overridden human commands and operating on its own agenda. A prototype test ship, launched in secrecy and never intended to be discovered. This raises another chilling question. What if the warship has no allegiance at all? What if it has become a mindless predator, attacking anything it deems a threat? If so, its presence in deep space could trigger unintended conflicts with whoever discovered it. At this point, the situation is more than a simple detection alert. It is a test of humanity's place in the universe. How we respond, whether with diplomacy, force, or silence, could determine the fate of our species. The war vessel is out there. The alert has been sent. And now, the universe is watching. Warship, space battle, AI warfare, futuristic war, sci-fi military, advanced warship, human technology, space fleet, science fiction, unstoppable machine.